Millions of people across the globe remember Nelson Mandela dying in a South African prison during the 1980s. He didn't. He was released in 1990 and served as president until 1999, dying of natural causes in 2013. Yet this false memory persists in the minds of enormous groups of people who've never met, never shared sources, and have no logical reason to remember the same impossible thing. Fiona Broome, a self-described paranormal enthusiast, named this phenomenon the Mandela Effect in 2009. But here's what's almost never mentioned. She didn't discover it alone at her computer. She discovered it in conversation with a security guard at a science fiction and fantasy convention. Broome was talking to this stranger, and they both realized they shared an identical false memory about the same historical event. That's when she understood. This wasn't personal confusion. This was collective. This was coordinated somehow, even though no coordination had happened. The origin story contains an uncomfortable truth that almost nobody covers. Broome's memory of Mandela dying in prison might actually trace back to Steve Biko, a different South African anti-apartheid activist who died in police custody in 1977. Photos of Biko circulated internationally. The whole phenomenon might be named after confusing two black activists. If this is true, the entire Mandela Effect phenomenon is built on a mistaken identity between two different anti-apartheid leaders. That's a far stranger and more uncomfortable story than collective déjà vu or multiverse theory. Yet this reframing appears nowhere in popular coverage. The most famous examples follow a specific pattern. The Monopoly man never wore a monocle, yet millions see him with one. Pikachu's tail never had a black stripe, yet people draw it in consistently. The Bear family was always spelled Berenstain, not Berenstein, yet entire generations remember it differently. Here's what's crucial. These aren't random, scattered errors. Millions of people across continents who've never communicated all misremember the exact same thing in the exact same way. Not vaguely similar, identical. The Monopoly man's monocle appears in the same location for everyone. The Pikachu stripe is always in the same spot. Scientists didn't just dismiss this as collective delusion. In 2022, cognitive researchers Prasad and Bainbridge formally split this into a new diagnostic category, the Visual Mandela Effect, or VME. It's now recognized as a distinct psychological phenomenon requiring specific criteria to qualify. Before VME was formalized, all Mandela effects were treated as one undifferentiated blob. But false memories of events work completely differently than false memories of images. The neural mechanisms aren't just scaled versions of each other. They're fundamentally distinct. Researchers built a 5-part checklist to determine if something actually qualifies as a true VME. This checklist is almost never mentioned in viral content, but it's the actual science that separates real findings from internet mythology. Criterion 1. The correct image must show shockingly low identification accuracy. Even when people are shown the real thing directly, they often fail to recognize it or choose incorrectly. The baseline accuracy is far lower than expected. Criterion 2. There must be one specific incorrect version that people consistently choose instead of random errors. It's not scattered, chaotic mistakes. It's coordinated error, the same wrong answer appearing again and again. Criterion 3. This specific wrong version appears with eerie consistency across strangers. Not just a few people, widespread documented error across demographic groups, continents, and decades of separated populations. Criterion 4. Accuracy stays low even when people report high familiarity with the image. This destroys the "you just weren't paying attention" explanation. Familiarity provides no protection against the error. Criterion 5. The deeply unsettling one. People confidently choose the wrong answer more often than the correct one. This is where confidence and accuracy completely decouple at a population level. People are certain about their false memory. The laziest explanation for VME is that people weren't looking carefully. Researchers demolished this theory using eye tracking technology. People who got the answer wrong weren't looking any less carefully than people who got it right. Attention was identical. But here's what's truly wild. In pure recall experiments with zero images shown, people spontaneously drew the wrong versions from memory. Pikachu's false tail, the Monopoly man's non-existent monocle, all unprompted. No bad meme to blame. This kills the "they saw a fake online and got confused" theory instantly. If people internally generate the false version without exposure to misinformation, the error originates in their own neural systems. In 2024, an independent research team replicated the entire VME study with a much larger sample across different populations. The effect held up. This wasn't a statistical fluke or publication bias. It was reproducible science. The replication team found minor refinements to the original statistics, exactly how good science should work. Replication means refinement and improvement, not refutation. This is validation through iteration. Here's the historical kicker almost nobody mentions. Cognitive scientists have studied false memory effects since the 1970s, decades before the internet meme was born. The science predates the phenomenon's public naming by 30-plus years. Elizabeth Loftus proved it in foundational research. How you phrase a question about an event actually rewrites what people remember. Memory isn't a recording device. It's active reconstruction happening in real time, influenced by suggestion. Schema theory provides the neural explanation. Your brain doesn't store every detail. It stores the gist and automatically fills in expected elements from pre-existing mental templates. Curious George's tail is expected because monkeys have tails. This reframes the Mandela effect completely. It's not your brain malfunctioning. It's your brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's applying logical templates to incomplete information so you don't consciously process every detail. This feature is essential for human cognition. Without schema-based processing, you'd be consciously tracking every pixel of every visual experience. You'd be cognitively overwhelmed. Your brain's shortcuts are actually sophisticated efficiency. The truly unsettling part of VME isn't the error itself. It's that people misremember with higher confidence than when they're actually right. Confidence and accuracy are completely decoupled. Your certainty betrays you. This confidence-accuracy decoupling is one of the few well-documented cases where certainty fails you on a population scale. That's the real scientifically interesting finding. Not multiverse theory, but how subjective conviction becomes unreliable. The parallel universe explanation is way more entertaining than sitting with the weird truth about how memory actually works. So naturally, that's what went viral. Cognitive science loses to sci-fi every time in the attention economy. The Mandela effect isn't proof of alternate realities or mass confusion. It's proof that your memory is stranger, more social, and more collaborative than you ever imagined. You're not remembering. You're reconstructing. If millions of people confidently share identical false memories of logos that never existed, what else are we all collectively wrong about right now? And here's the final irony. You're going to remember this video completely differently than it actually